Welcome, MechWarrior. You're accessing beginner-level training manuals for the Raven RVN-1X provided by Ronin Fox Armored Security. I'll be your instructor, Fox. This tactical debriefing will cover the specifications, strengths, and weaknesses of the Raven 1X, as well as how to refit and operate your own in the field. Because this is the beginner level, some restrictions will apply, including no lostech, no upgrades, no mods, level 1 equipment only. DLC will be allowed. Let us begin. Hellespont MechWorks Raven RVN-1X. Weight class, light. Role, scout. Availability, rare. Threat level, reduced. Description. A Capellan-engineered mech unique for being a totally new model, something that has not been seen in centuries. The Raven would herald a new age of warfare. The Raven was built out of necessity. The Capellan Confederation would make an effort to revive lostech Star League electronic weapons. Their efforts yielded less powerful but still functioning equipment that was simply too bulky to be loaded onto any existing light mech in the Capellan armory. Enter the Raven. The Raven saw usage primarily at the battalion level, where they would be used in very limited numbers to cover the advance of allies with their ECM radar jammer and to detect hidden enemies with the sensor probe. Ultimately, the Raven worked, but it was not overwhelmingly powerful. Raven models captured by House Liao would be retooled into pure combat mechs, as they found the Capellan experimental weapons to be pale imitations of the originals. Today, those searching for a Raven 1X will most likely find them amongst the Capellan Confederation. Specifications. Maximum weight, 35 tons. Minimum weight, 12.5 tons. This means 22.5 tons are available for customization. Maximum speed, 81 kilometers forward, 53 kilometers reverse, standard engine. This could be seen as below average speed for a light mech. Armor values. Stock armor is 144 units, which is 4.5 tons of standard armor. Maximum chassis armor is 250 units, which is 7.81 tons of armor. This could be seen as average armor for a scout mech or below average armor for a 35-ton mech. Onboard weapons include one SRM-6 right torso with 1 ton of SRM ammo, which is 320 missiles or 53.3 volleys left torso. 2 medium lasers, right arm, EW countermeasures and active probe, left torso, as well as 5 additional heat sinks. Strengths and weaknesses. The Raven is a scout, designed for reconnaissance rather than combat. In this role, it performs adequately. These are its strengths. Sensor probe. The Raven is able to detect enemies without line of sight, allowing it to maintain missile locks for its allies. Unassuming. The Raven has a tendency to go unnoticed by its enemies, who prefer higher priority targets over it. LRM jamming. The ECM system protects the Raven and nearby allies from LRM locks, which causes some of the missiles to miss. The Raven does have weaknesses, however. Not fast. The Raven is a bit slow for a light mech, which harms both its evasiveness and its ability to position itself. Adequate firepower. Much of its space is used for the electronic weapons, leaving sufficient but not overwhelming firepower for a mech of its speed. Fragile. The lower speed of the Raven reduces its evasiveness, and this means its lighter armor is even more vulnerable due to not being able to avoid damage as easily. Recustomization. Ronin Fox Armored Security recommends the following Raven 1X refit for the beginner MechWarrior. It will focus on improving survivability without compromising firepower. Starting with a stripped mech, add the EW countermeasures and probe. Add an SRM-6 with 2 tons of ammo, which is 640 missiles or 106.6 volleys. Add 2 small lasers short burst. Max the armor and add 2 heat sinks, which will take the mech beyond its maximum capacity. Bring it into compliance by tuning its armor. Set all rear armor to 10 and move the rest to the front. Set head armor to 24 and both legs to 32 each. This refit reinforces the Raven's armor, giving the MechWarrior more room for error with its slower speeds. The small lasers also have more inherent heat efficiency, allowing the reduced quantity of heat sinks to keep up with the mech's overall heat. BattleRom Debriefing. Now that the Raven has been refitted, it's time to see how to operate it in the field. These will be the mission conditions. Mission type, Battlefield. Difficulty, 33. Maximum drop weight, 200. Allies include 3 Hunchback HBK-4Js, all in stock configuration. Pilot skill, regular. If you have your own BattlePod training simulator, check Document 1 in the video's description for an instant action code allowing you to recreate this same battle for training purposes. Welcome to Sarna, MechWarrior. It is 3029, and the Fourth Succession War continues to rage on. The 5th Syrtis Fusiliers are attempting to break out of a disastrous landing after being met by McCarran's armored cavalry. You'll be seeing the perspective of Reco 1 detached from his lance to provide targeting data for Chico Lance's Hunchbacks on a search and destroy mission against the Fusiliers. Chico's interception begins with a pair of scouts, a locust and a spider. Normally, the jungle and city would be poor terrain for LRMs, but with Reco 1's Raven, it is possible to detect these mechs easily. The lance emerges, battered from missiles, and Reco launches his ambush as the locust finds Chico's Hunchbacks. This recon mech is not intended for heavy combat and is cut to ribbons. The spider fares no better and is swat from the sky, silencing their recon attempt. A pair of medium mechs investigate the last known location of the now dark recon lance, a Blackjack and Vulcan coming forwards. Moving through the city, Reco 1's sensor probe is able to detect it even through the buildings, allowing Chico's Hunchbacks to pummel the Blackjack with a constant barrage of missiles. Reco strikes when the Blackjack begins opening fire, catching it in a deadly and short-lived crossfire. The Vulcan detects Reco's Raven, but it struggles to find a clean shot before Chico's bombardment begins raining down upon it. As before, Reco repeats the strategy, assisting with the Vulcan as it changes its focus, catching it in a combined attack. More forces converge, catching Chico's Hunchbacks off guard. A javelin and spider burst forth from the jungle. Reco 1 moves into close range with the javelin, leveraging the Raven's ECM jammer to scramble the javelin's targeting systems. Its ambush is cut short as the Raven's missiles hammer into its rear armor. The spider launches its attack with Reco simultaneously launching his own ambush at the same time. Missiles streak towards the spider as it attempts evasive maneuvers. While not overwhelming, the powerful SRM-6 onboard the Raven is still more than enough to punch through these softer light mechs. The main lance of this force finally emerges, a Shadowhawk Hunchback and Blackjack. Reco 1 feeds the Shadowhawk's location to Chico, who quickly batters the medium mech with their LRMs. The Shadowhawk reaches attack range, already suffering multiple armor breaches, and is cut apart by Chico's massed fire. Now the Raven's probe detects the Hunchback, caught in the city and exposed to bombardment. The Hunchback passes by Reco 1, not seeing him. This gives Reco 1 a clear attack on the Hunchback's rear armor, disabling the dangerous AC-20, then breaching its engine core. By now, the Blackjack had caught on to Reco's strategy. Fortunately, its heavier refitted armor was able to withstand the Blackjack's searing lasers as the Raven shuffles to cover. Reco 1 keeps the Blackjack out of sight, allowing for the streams of LRMs to rain down upon it. He then launches a hit-and-run attack on the Blackjack as it turns away from him to face Chico, who had simultaneously begun to advance into close combat to finish the mech. Together, they concentrate their firepower and bring the mech down safely. Chico and Reco both return after a successful interception. The jungles of Sarna provided no safe haven from targeting nor LRMs due to the delicate sensory equipment on board the Raven. This concludes the tactical debriefing for the Raven RVN-1X. You now have a stronger understanding of this mech's specifications, strengths and weaknesses, as well as how to refit and operate your own in the field. Thank you for choosing Ronin Fox Armored Security for all your training needs. Alright now, Rizzlers, that's the Raven video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But how good is the Raven? Let me review it out of character. Now, I'm gonna be dead ass. It is a little hard for me to rate this mech because you could do really interesting things with it, but you also have to have more familiarity with the game, especially in relationship to how the AI behaves. What I can say is that it's definitely not great for new players unless you're using it for the infiltration missions where it does perform quite well. So, I think I'm gonna settle on probably skip the Raven unless you've already beaten the game and you're looking for new ways to enjoy MechWarrior 5. Anyways, moving on to a medium mech next time, and remember that my MechWarrior stream season is almost finished, so be ready for voting on the next MechWarrior season. And of course, don't forget to show the Fox some love, leave a comment telling me what you think, and subscribe to the channel. Till next time though, boys, deuces, and remember that you don't have to be good to get good.